with sources telling Fox News that former FBI Director James Comey is meeting right now with Secret Service officials in Washington after his 8647 post. This is not an arrest, but a standard interview, and we will bring you the information as soon as we get it.
And interview him today?
So he's going to be escorted by the Secret Service,
okay,
as the last arrangement we were told of, to their field office and be interviewed.
What did Comey think 8647 meant? This is what he looked at it and said, I think it's political. What is political about this? I swear I could be a lawyer. I could prosecute Director Comey any day of the week. What do you think? You said that you think this was political. What political message do you think it meant? This was clearly a posted threat against Donald Trump. I don't know how anybody can deny that. Director Comey, being an FBI director, should know that when you see seashells that say 8647, what else do you think it means? Look at his post here. This is the first time I'm reading his actual post. It says, I posted earlier a picture of some shells that I saw today on the beach walking, which I assured or assumed were a political message. What political message, Comey? I didn't realize some folks associate those numbers with violence. It never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind, so I took the post down. What did Comey think 8647 meant? This is what he looked at it and said, I think it's political. What is political about this? I swear I could be a lawyer. I could prosecute Director Comey any day of the week. What do you think? You said that you think this was political. What political message do you think it meant? If you saw 47 and you saw president, what did you think 86 mean? Again, like I tell you guys, every single time that we talk about a subject like this, you have to see how they're presenting this in the media. It's funny because you wonder why your mama and your auntie and them are like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and that's because of the way that the media is presenting it. All you got to do is look at what the left is saying. MAGA is losing his mind over the Instagram post calling for Trump's ouster. And then it says, it means assassination. Trump blasts dirty cop Comey for 8647, which is they're kind of making fun of what he's saying as if it's not really true. Trump team pretends to be horrified. These are the things that your parents who are on the left are hearing and listening to, which I would argue is not true. This is more accurate from the right. It says Comey appears to call for Trump's assassination in 8647. They weren't too demanding. They gave a contextual reality of what actually occurred. And this is why you need to be able to see what's on the left and on the right, so you know what your parents are listening to or your friends who are on the left, and you know what the truth is. And this is why I love Ground.News, because they lay it all out here for you so you're educated on the things that you hear about. Also, don't forget and get caught up on the blind spot. If you go to the blind spot section, what's in red is what Republicans need to know. And what's in the blue is what Democrats need to know that they're not covering. You can go down a list and you will see things that you ought to be looking after. Because if you are claiming to be informed and you don't know what's really going on in the news cycle on both sides, you are really uninformed, or you're getting biased responses to the things that you're listening to. So make sure you guys subscribe through my link at ground.news/Tatum, or download the mobile app and use offer code Tatum for 40% off the unlimited Vantage plan to see through media bias and stay informed. Let's talk about police jargon, and then we're going to play Tulsi Gabbard's association with this. A former Secret Service agent also blasting Director Comey. Kid Rock is blasting Director Comey. You go down the list, I'm going to play all of them blasting Director Comey. But let's talk about 86 and some of these police codes, and the reason why people think that it was a jargon against Donald Trump. Now, I like to be fair, so I'll put both sides out there. However, we do know the history with Director Comey. We do know his relationship with Donald Trump, and we do know he's a complete fraud. He should be in prison for what he did against, or he did for, against the American people, but for Hillary Clinton. She should have went to prison. There's no reason whatsoever he should say no reasonable prosecutor would take the charges that she sent to receive classified information. There are people currently in jail over what she did. All right, let's move forward. Codes. So on the police department, you have 10 codes. Some of the police departments are different, but generally speaking, it's 10 codes. Like we had codes. 10-8. What does 10-8 mean? Which also some departments call it 1086. Now, 1086 can mean what 10-8 means for us, meaning that a person is on duty. That means that they're actively en route. So, or like they're available for calls. So a police officer would get on the horn or get on the mic and say, 2 Adam 66, 86. Now we use 10-8, but they may say 1086. That tells the dispatcher that I'm on duty, right? So somebody could argue that 8647 means Donald Trump is on duty. Now, more prevalent, people have used 86 for the alternative meaning that police use it for, which means that 86 means that you eliminate somebody, you remove somebody, you kill somebody. So some could say that person has been 86'd from the Circle K. That means that person has been removed or banned from the Circle K, right? But then also 86 could mean somebody is killed. That means they've been deleted from life. We use the word 10-7. So 10-8 means a person is available for service, and 10-8 means a police officer is gone for the day, which means that, hey, I'm 10-7. That means I'm out for the day. But also we alternatively use 10-7 for when somebody dies. So we can say, oh yeah, that person's 10-7. That means that person is dead. And so that's kind of how the jargon is used, and the reason why people are so outraged at Director Comey being an FBI director, being unaware, quote unquote, of this happening. So let's listen to what Tulsi Gabbard had to say. And we have a whole bunch of other clips that we can play, but roll Tulsi Gabbard real quick, roll the clip.
People like him need to be held to account according to the law, which is something that he claims to have given his life for and stands by the rule of law. Fantastic. The rule of law says people like him who issue direct threats against the President of the United States, essentially issuing a call to assassinate him, must be held accountable under the law.
Do you believe Comey should be in jail?
I do. Any other person with the position of influence that he has, people who take very seriously what a guy of his stature, his experience, and what the propaganda media has built him up to be, I'm very concerned for the president's life. We've already seen assassination attempts. I'm very concerned for his life. And James Comey, in my view, should be held accountable and put behind bars for this.
All right, let's talk about this real quick. Keep it on the screen. Let's talk about this real quick, because there are a group of people that are on both sides of this. Some people say it's not a crime. It's not a crime to post a picture. How can you create that as a crime? The guy just posted a picture. You can't prove his culpable mental state. However, there's another argument to this, because a person of his stature, that's the difference between a little kid walking up on seashells and taking a picture versus a person who's a director of the FBI, who's been 20 some years of experience knowing threats that are against the president, exposed to threats, get training on what is a threat and what's not a threat. That means that he is culpable. He knowingly and intentionally posted something that he reasonably should have known was a threat. And that is enough to investigate somebody. And then once you investigate a person, then you can find out their true motives. But at least probable cause to investigate a person who is knowingly and intentionally posting a threat. Now, let me say it like this. Just say that, because you can accomplish posting a threat and deleting it and saying, hey, I didn't do anything about, or I was wrong, or I was unaware of this, while also still accomplishing the same threat. Meaning that if you wanted to get the message out of there that, hey, I want to whistle blow that we need to go and take out Trump, I post it, then I delete it and say, oh, I didn't know what it was. But it has already been posted. It has already been shared. It is already still in perpetuity on the internet. You can't delete the internet. That's why we still have a picture of the post that he made, because it never goes away. So a person can say, oh, I'm going to outsmart the government by posting something that's a direct threat and then acting like I didn't know what was going on. This is why we can do an investigation into this. Director Comey has already showed signs of hating Donald Trump. He's always been a part of an apparatus that illegally went against Donald Trump, illegally investigated Donald Trump. And so I think that it's fair to draw the comparison, and at least he should be investigated for what he did, which I think that he is being investigated. Let's play the clip that I didn't get to play earlier. I want to play the clip of James Comey and him with the Hillary Clinton case, because this is what I was talking about. I didn't know we had the clip. My guys were on it, and I just didn't know we had the clip. But I just want you guys to see, and this is why the totality of circumstances necessitate an investigation, not just an isolated incident. Roll the clip.
Our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. I believe this investigation was conducted in an apolitical and professional way. My conclusion was and remains, no reasonable prosecutor would bring this case.
The continuing series of attacks on the rule of law, they're taking a flamethrower to DOJ and to the FBI because it's a threat.
You think that there's any credence to the president's claims that you broke the law when you released your memos?
I don't. In fact, I think he's just making stuff up.
The President of the United States is lying about the FBI, attacking the FBI, and attacking the rule of law in this country. It's like a breakup that he can't get over. I'm out there living my best life. Can't become numb to the President of the United States just making stuff up.
Are you thinking President Trump's a liar?
Yes. That person's not fit to be President of the United States.
The FBI is fighting a fire of racist violence, and with words like that, the President is using a fire hose to spray gasoline on that fire.
After the search of Mar-a-Lago, there were days of lies about the FBI acting as some sort of thug army, and that hurts.
It's a set of values that represent the glue of this country, and they are under attack by things just like that.
I thought it's crazy to fire me. I'm leading the investigation of Russian influence, and particularly whether anyone in the Trump orbit had coordinated and conspired with the Russians.
Possible for the law enforcement institutions to put him in jail?
No, they would just put him in a double wide somewhere out near the fence, out in the grass. And he would eat there, he'd shower there, he'd exercise there.
Hard to imagine 2 FBI agents ending up in the same room. How did that happen?
I sent them. I thought it's early enough. Let's just send a couple guys over.
86-47.
86-47.
Are you buying that the former FBI director didn't know what 86 Trump meant?
A child knows what that meant. If you're the FBI director and you don't know what that meant assassination.
All right. Nobody can prove anything differently than what was said. You see a person's implicit bias. Not even implicit, I mean direct bias against Donald Trump. He completely fluffed the investigation to Hillary Clinton because he was standing behind Hillary, and I would say he wanted her to have an opportunity to win the presidency. He was biased. He got fired because the guy literally said out of his mouth that Hillary Clinton sent and received hundreds of classified documents. That is a felony. That is against the law. She sent top secret documents knowingly and intentionally. They had a kid, Trump pardoned him, but he literally sent a picture home to his family of the submarine. He was just some pictures on the submarine, not of anything classified or anything, just pictures on the submarine, which was prohibited. The fact that he sent pictures, he went to prison for sending pictures on. This lady had a server in her house that the U.S. government didn't know about. She was sending classified documents through a server with a person monitoring the server who didn't even work for the government. That means not only was she sending and receiving classified information from a server that wasn't associated with the government doing government business, she also exposed a person without security clearance to government official business. And then when she was subpoenaed, she deleted 30,000 emails. And then she said her lawyers went through the emails to determine which ones were personal, which ones were classified. So therefore, she subjugated her lawyers to classified information without a clearance. Like, she committed so many crimes. And for Director Comey to get up there and say no reasonable prosecutor will bring these charges, that's not his job, and it never was. You are to do an investigation and pass it to a prosecutor to determine. The prosecution determine if they want to bring the charges. Anyway, I can go down for 35 minutes on this, but I got to go live on Laura Ingraham here in a minute. Let's go to the clip 4 real quick. Let's play a Secret Service member blasting Director Comey. So it's not just me. Other former Secret Service members are doing this very same thing. Roll the clip.
Does James Comey's explanation of this pass any straight face test? A shell formation, which is a threat to Donald Trump's life, is just something he came across on the beach.
Yeah, of course he did. He also came across the abominable snowman and Sasquatch while he was walking along on the beach. Listen, this guy, James Comey's been a problem since day one. He likes to talk about how Trump is unethical, immoral, a threat to the United States. Yeah, how about the former director of the FBI has got nothing better to do than put shells in a formation that says 8647, and then he claims, well, I just happen to find this, and you want to talk about this guy's mental cognition? Let's compare him to Joe Biden. Are you kidding me? This is just more of the same from, 120 or so days ago. This guy's trying to stay relevant. He's a complete zero, and this latest episode just shows what a complete clown show he is and the FBI is. And now the Secret Service is going to say, well, we're going to investigate? Are you kidding me? The Secret Service is no better now than it was when it had those last two directors. These guys can't get out of their own way. The FBI is a complete disgrace still. You know, Kash Patel, Danny Bongino, Sean Curran over at the service need to clean house and get it done now. And I hope Pam Bondi and her people go after this guy with everything that he's worth. You're the former director of the FBI, the president of the United States, who, by the way, was rightly elected, is out of the country in the Middle East, no less, talking to one of our greatest threats, the Iranians, the Qataris, and you go and you pull a stunt like this? How juvenile. This is high school, but you know what? This guy needs to be prosecuted. This has got to stop.
Yeah, well, and this is after 100%. We still don't know anything about.
Love that. Let's see what Kid Rock had to say. Roll the clip.
Have you seen what Comey drew in seashells on the beach? This guy says he doesn't know what 8647 means. Do you believe that?
Yeah, he's the head of the FBI. He doesn't know what 86 somebody means. I mean, this guy is either drunk or he's clearly got TDS at the highest levels, because Trump handed his ass to him. And 86 at the I might send out a drunk tweet, all right? I'm in a rock band, for crying out loud. This guy's the head of the FBI. Trump had an assassination attempt twice on him. It's like, what is freaking the matter with these people? Our president is literally saving America every hour, every day, working his ass off. I speak to him sometimes. I'm on the same kind of sleep schedule. I sleep 4 or 5 hours a night. I know the way this guy works. I've known him for years now. It's just insane to watch people just keep attacking him. Like, you just can't give him a little breather room and be like, hey, thank you. That was a nice job on that. Thank you for securing our border, for keeping us safe.
Thank you, Kid Rock. I got to move. Let's see, clip 6. I think this is the one that says 8647 sign has been seen as anti-Trump. What is this one? Roll it.
Due process now.
All right, so now you see what I was talking about. This is not the first time 86 anybody was. There's 86 a lot of people, right? We know that that's a term that people are using to say to kill Donald Trump. And the thing is that, and I'll finish it with this, Director Comey, and he's not dumb, right? He know what would be prosecuted and what wouldn't be prosecuted because he know culpable mental state and the elements of the crime. So what is he doing? He say, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to create a shell formation. I'm going to put it out there. And then I'm going to say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know what it meant, and I deleted it. Because then you have to prove what was his intent in his mind. And it's almost impossible to get into a person's mind and see what they intended to do. But I think it's reasonable that they should go after him and investigate, because this is something that's the Secret Service should be looking into, because if a person is potentially making a threat against Trump, they got to investigate it. And Director Comey is not excluded from the investigation. Comment in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think about it. Make sure you get some Shinergy. Shout out to Shinergy, ShinergyLife.com. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.